After dating my girlfriend for a year, I recently found out that she shared intimate and embarrassing details about our relationship with her friends. It felt deeply hurtful, and ultimately, I decided to end things. Here's what happened. Last Friday night, my girlfriend and a group of her close friends were going out to celebrate one friend's return from a trip. Originally, they were planning a party, but instead decided on dinner at a restaurant, followed by hanging out at one of their homes to watch movies. My older sister, who's close with my girlfriend and part of her friend group, went along too. I was happy for them and didn't think much of it. My girlfriend was at my house beforehand, so my sister gave her a ride to the restaurant, planning to drop her off later. But instead of coming home around midnight or even sleeping over with her friends, my sister was back at our house by 9:30 p.m., visibly upset. She was acting out of character, slamming doors and seeming really angry. When I asked if she had dropped my girlfriend off, she only said, "She can take a taxi." The next morning, my sister was still in a bad mood, but refused to say what was wrong. By Sunday, she finally opened up, saying something had happened the other night and I needed to hear it. My mind went to the worst, thinking maybe my girlfriend had cheated. But my sister explained that, during the girls' night, after some drinks, the conversation turned to past relationships and current boyfriends. My girlfriend, apparently not overly drunk, but definitely loose-lipped, started sharing details about our relationship, things I never thought she would share. According to my sister, my girlfriend had made fun of the fact that I was a virgin when we started dating, joking about my lack of experience. She even mocked my attempts early in our relationship, which stung. She also made crude comments about the shape of my body, saying that I had a slight bend, and made fun of how I sometimes sound during intimate moments. I never thought my girlfriend had any issues with these things, so hearing her mock me about it was a shock. I asked my sister why she felt the need to tell me. She said she thought I deserved to know and that it hurt her to hear my girlfriend speak about me that way. After hearing about what my girlfriend said behind my back, I felt really hurt and conflicted. My sister had overheard my girlfriend talking in detail about our relationship during a girls' night, making jokes about personal things, like my being a virgin when we started dating, and even poking fun at my body. She was visibly upset when she got home and told me that she felt I had a right to know, which is why she'd cut the night short and left early. As my sister told me, she was clearly upset, and although I was hurt by what my girlfriend had said, I couldn't understand why my sister had taken it so personally. I started to wonder if my reaction was valid. Was I overreacting? Should I feel so betrayed? Was it okay for my girlfriend to share these things in a social setting, even if it was just between friends? The days after I found out were tough. My mind kept circling back to whether my girlfriend truly respected me. Her jokes and comments made me question my self-worth, particularly about things she'd never brought up with me directly. I began to wonder if my girlfriend had always seen me as somehow less than, because I was a virgin when we met. The thought that she might have been mocking me with her friends left me feeling deeply insecure. I even became self-conscious about my appearance, something I'd never worried about before. It felt humiliating to think that she'd laughed about personal things I never thought would be an issue. It made me start second-guessing myself and question if there was something wrong with me, even though I knew deep down I was overthinking it. Eventually, I knew I had to confront her. Keeping it bottled up was only causing more doubt and hurt. I didn't want to confront her out of anger, but because I wanted to understand why she'd said those things and why she hadn't talked to me. If something had been bothering her, I felt like I'd opened myself up to her completely, trusting her with things I hadn't shared with anyone else. Her reaction made me feel like I was just a joke. Initially, I took out my frustration on my sister, pestering her for every detail my girlfriend had shared, trying to piece together exactly what was said. She was uncomfortable, but eventually relented. Knowing I planned to confront my girlfriend, I also asked her if she was okay with me revealing to my girlfriend that she'd been the one to tell me. She agreed, sensing my need for closure. My sister gave me a piece of advice I hadn't expected. She urged me not to feel obligated to stay with my girlfriend, simply because she was my first. She saw how much this had hurt me and doubted whether my girlfriend deserved another chance. It was painful to consider, but her words gave me the resolve to approach my girlfriend with honesty. I realized that I deserved someone who respected me and who wouldn't use private details as a source of entertainment for others. I got really angry with my sister for telling me what my girlfriend had said, and I let it out on her in a way I deeply regret. I told her that I would have been better off not knowing, blaming her for sharing things that hurt me. At first, she apologized and tried to let it go, but I kept pushing. I was relentless, harassing her with questions, even following her upstairs as she walked away from me. I asked over and over why she thought I needed to know, and eventually, she couldn't take it anymore. She turned to me, angry and frustrated, and shouted, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I love you, because I wanted to look out for you, while she clearly has no respect for you." As I sat with it, guilt hit me hard. I knew I'd been 100% in the wrong. I knew I'd messed up, big time, by lashing out at the one person who had been looking out for me. I felt like an idiot and knew I had to face this head-on with my girlfriend. The next day, I called my girlfriend to meet up. She sounded happy, saying she'd missed hearing from me, and we decided to go for lunch. I tried to bring up the issue during our conversation, but each time I hesitated. At one point, she asked if she could spend the afternoon at my place to avoid some guests her parents were hosting, and I agreed. Back at my house, we settled in, and I finally worked up the courage to bring up what had happened. My sister was still upstairs, listening to music loudly, and I figured she wouldn't come down. I knew this was my moment to be open and honest. I finally gathered the courage to bring up the issue with my girlfriend. I said, "Look, I don't know exactly how to start this, but there's something that's really been bothering me. Some things you apparently said about me." I told her about the details my sister had shared and how hurt I felt by it all. Her reaction caught me off guard. "That's it?" she asked, looking almost amused. "I could tell something was bothering you. Is that really it?" She then brushed it off, acting like it was no big deal. I told her that what she says about me matters to me, and that I felt hurt by what I'd heard. I also said I thought an apology was in order. She replied, "Fine, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things. I won't do it again. I didn't realize it would bother you so much." But almost immediately, she started downplaying it, saying it was silly to be upset over something that was just girl talk. She said girls tease their boyfriends behind their backs all the time, thinking it was all just playful. I tried to tell her that it felt like more than playful teasing to me, but she only rolled her eyes and gave me a sarcastic look. Then she asked, "How did you even find out about this?" I said, "Well, sometimes when you talk about someone in front of other people, it's going to get back to them." Instantly, she guessed it was my sister and said, "I knew it. I hate having her around anyway. She always has to act so moral, like she's better than everyone else." I stopped her and said, "Hey, that's my sister. Don't talk about her like that." But she just kept going, blaming my sister for the whole situation, saying I never would have known if she hadn't stirred up drama. I told her that my sister was just looking out for me and shouldn't be blamed. She replied, "Do you really believe that? Your sister always pretends she's so moral, but she loves creating drama. Why else would she tell you?" I tried to defend my sister, saying she genuinely cared about my feelings. My girlfriend shot back, "If she cared about your feelings, she wouldn't have told you in the first place." Then she asked if my sister was at home. I told her my sister was upstairs, but that now wasn't the time to involve her in this. We stayed in the living room for a while, but eventually, my sister came downstairs. As she walked into the room, I could feel the tension building. As I sat with my girlfriend, I heard my sister calling my name, saying she needed to talk to me about something important. When she came into the room and saw us sitting together, she paused, clearly surprised. "Oh, I didn't know you were here," she said, and the air immediately felt thick with tension. There was a brief, uncomfortable silence and some awkward small talk. Then, suddenly, my girlfriend turned to her and asked, "What gives you the right to interfere in our relationship?" My sister looked stunned, taken aback by the directness. She stared back, speechless. My girlfriend continued, "Don't act like you don't know what you did. You're always stirring the pot." She went on, accusing my sister of betraying her trust, claiming she wasn't a good friend, and shouldn't even come to girls' nights if she couldn't keep quiet. I had to step in. "That's enough," I said. But my girlfriend kept going. The conversation quickly turned into a heated argument, with my girlfriend relentlessly attacking my sister. My sister's eyes started welling up with tears, and she looked at me, hurt. "Why don't you stand up for me?" she asked. "Can't you even hear what she's saying? Why are you even with her?" At that, my girlfriend declared she couldn't handle this anymore and started to leave. I stopped her, saying I needed to talk. In that moment, I broke up with her. I didn't go into details. I just told her that things weren't working out and that it would be best for both of us to part ways. She was visibly hurt and confused, but seemed to understand when I mentioned the ongoing tension between her and my sister. "Maybe we can still be friends," she said. I replied, "Maybe, but for now, we need some time apart." We hugged one last time, shared a quiet goodbye, and she left. After she was gone, I went upstairs to check on my sister. She was sitting on her bed, staring at the floor, listening to music. I sat beside her and apologized for everything, for lashing out at her before, for blaming her, and for my girlfriend's behavior toward her. She looked down and muttered, "Maybe she was right. I'm an idiot who always sticks my nose where it doesn't belong. I should have just kept quiet." I reassured her, telling her she had done the right thing and that I knew she was only looking out for me. I told her I'd just broken up with my girlfriend, and she nodded, saying she thought it was the right decision. I apologized again for putting her through this and hugged her, asking if there was anything I could do to show my gratitude. She simply replied, "Just smile more often." Over the next few days, though, I could tell she wasn't quite herself. She seemed a bit down, staying at home more than usual. On Friday afternoon, I found her lounging in the living room, eating chips and watching cartoons, dressed in old, unwashed clothes. She looked like she hadn't showered, and her hair was a mess. Concerned, I asked if she was okay. She just shrugged, saying, "I'm fine." I reminded her that she usually went out with friends on Fridays, and asked if she had any plans. When I asked my sister about her usual girls' night, she sighed and said, "Not anymore." Curious, I asked why, and she told me her friends had officially disinvited her. I was shocked. "That's horrible. How can friends do that?" She explained that the girls from last week had stopped responding to her, unfollowed her on social media, and were all giving her the cold shoulder. Apparently, they were angry because she had ruined their girls' night by speaking up. And since my ex-girlfriend led that group, the rest followed her lead in shutting my sister out. I couldn't believe it. How could friends completely cut someone off over one incident? My sister just shrugged, looking almost indifferent. I told her I felt terrible, feeling that all of this happened just because she chose to look out for me and tell me the truth about my ex. She shrugged again, saying, "Why would I regret it? I don't care about them. You mean more to me. Anyway, I'll find other friends." I was touched. "That's incredibly kind of you," I said, giving her a hug. But as we talked, she admitted she still felt a bit sad. She had genuinely enjoyed spending time with them, and knowing they were out having fun, while she was stuck at home made her feel like a bit of a loser. Friday nights had been their routine, going to the same fancy restaurant every week. It was understandable that losing that tradition was hard on her. I asked where they usually went, and she told me it was a fancy place they frequented. I looked at her and said, "You don't have to stay home. Let's go somewhere even better." She thought I was joking, but I assured her I was serious. We got dressed up, and I drove us to a new spot I'd been wanting to try. It ended up being pricey, over $200 for the two of us, but it was worth every penny. The food was amazing, and I could see her spirits lift as the evening went on. Reflecting on everything, I felt ashamed of how I'd initially reacted, how I'd let my anger and frustration spill over onto her, the one person who had my back. Breaking up with my ex-girlfriend was the right choice. I had expected to feel regret, But as the days passed, I felt more and more at peace. It's clear now that I made the right decision.